Hello and welcome to this live in the Get Unstuck series. I am Sarah Archer and I am a career and leadership coach. I work with mostly mid to senior professional women who are at a bit of a career crossroads and want to get some clarity about whether they should shift in their careers, make a pivot or make a leap. And we work together to get that clarity to help them move forward. And I designed the Get Unstuck series, which is a regular live on Wednesdays at 12:15, just to help you with those moments in your career where you are just feeling a little bit stuck. And so we cover a whole variety of topics that help you feel inspired, get some ideas, get some tools, get some tips. They're always really short and practical, so around 15 minutes. And there's lots of stuff you can take away that will help you with whatever you're feeling a bit stuck with. And I go live in LinkedIn and also in my Facebook group, the Love What You Do Lounge. So if you are here with me live, do let me know. Do pop a comment into the chat. Or if you've got questions about the topic, then please do ask away. If you're watching on replay, hi. And just if you've got a question, just tag me in and I will come back and answer it for you. So today's topic is a big one because often we are thinking, aren't we? Okay, I really want promotion. What do I need to do to make that happen? So I thought I'm going to run through some ideas for you about how you can make that more of a certainty. So if this year, beginning of 24, you set yourself a career goal to get promotion, either internally or get to that next level externally, then these are some things you can think about to put in place this year. Obviously, it depends on your time frame to make that happen. So first of all, how do you know you're ready for promotion? So maybe you are feeling bored. Maybe there's kind of no challenge or stretch left in your role, and you're just a little bit, okay, I could do this standing on my head. Maybe you're bumping up against your boss. So maybe you're noticing, you're thinking, well, I wouldn't have made that decision. Or maybe I know as much as my boss knows on this particular topic. So you just feel like you're kind of bumping up against them. Or maybe you find you're being asked to act up a lot into a more senior role. Or you just know you're ready for a new challenge. You've achieved everything you want to in your current role. Or maybe you find yourself thinking about wider challenges. So you're thinking more about the organizational wide challenges rather than your department or your team's challenges. So you're starting to think on that kind of bigger scale. But you might have a bit of self-doubt going on because it often kicks in, doesn't it, when we're thinking about stepping out of our comfort zone. And you might just find yourself thinking, well, actually, am I ready? Can I do that next level role? Can I do the strategic piece? That all seems to be a little bit of a stumbling block with people. Am I strategic enough? Am I a visionary? And also that question around, is it the right thing for me? So just because you can go to that next level doesn't mean that it is going to be right for you. I'm working with a client at the moment who her boss has left. She's a head of department and the director has left, and she's being encouraged to apply for that director role. But she's come to the conclusion quite bravely that actually that isn't the right thing for her. She's often thought that role would be a complete nightmare, but it's made her realize that she needs to find a more senior role, but not in her current organization. So just having those kind of reflective moments to think, actually, is that next level that I can see in my current organization the right thing for me? Or is there something else in the organization, or is it externally that I'm going to have to make that move? And obviously, if that self-doubt is kicking in, we don't want it to kind of grow roots and stop you or hold you back in moving forward in your career. So it is about, engaging with your inner coach and reminding yourself of all the great things you bring to your current role and why you're good enough. And I have done quite a few lives on career confidence, which you can access. They're all available. So it might be just going back and watching some of those, which is specifically about boosting your career confidence or handling your kind of inner critic or desire to self-sabotage. You can find those lives and just refresh yourself on those. So let's imagine that you are thinking, yes, this is the right thing for me, and I'm kind of managing my inner critic. Let's think about how to then prepare to get your promotion. So first of all would be to do a gap analysis. So that's thinking about what does that next level role require of me? And, what are the gaps in terms of my skill or experience? So, how would I rate myself perhaps around, say, influencing or that strategic piece or people management or stakeholder relationships? So thinking about the elements of that next role and just thinking about where am I and what do I need to do to get that experience, to be a credible candidate for that role, whether it's internal or external, and then having a think about how you're going to plug those gaps. The second thing would be to start scanning. And what I mean by that is looking for opportunities to get that opportunity to lead or to get the stretch that would help you plug some of those gaps. So that might be about taking on a project. It might be about volunteering to do a presentation to a client or to SLT, just looking for those opportunities to get some of that more leadership experience. And also thinking about what opportunities are there for me to show that I'm already operating at that level, at that next level. Because if you're really ready, then you will already be operating at a higher level. So looking for ways and opportunities where you can show that to your organization. The third thing, and these are not in any particular order, these are just ideas for you to think about, is to increase your self-awareness. So, you probably know yourself quite well already, but it's really thinking, okay, what are my key strengths? What am I really bringing that I know is going to be really valuable in this next role? And also knowing your value and knowing your worth. Okay, because you might have a great line manager who's really supportive, but you might have a line manager who can't see your potential and doesn't think you're ready for that next level role, even if you do. And it's important for you to recognize when you're ready, because it might be that rather than waiting until that manager thinks you're ready, you're going to go to a different organization where they can see your potential and what you are bringing. But, if you've been in your organization quite a long time, maybe you've moved up through the organization, it can be harder for people to see that you are able to step up into that next level role. But knowing it yourself will help you navigate that and make some decisions about what's going to be right for you. Then the next step would be to be proactive. And that's about again, sort of how you want to be viewed in the organization. So, everybody wants a problem solver in their organization, people who get things done. So, making sure that you are seen as that can-do person who just gets on and solves those problems, whether they're team, departmental or organizational, that you are, showing that you are thinking differently and bringing that your unique way of approaching things to different organizational challenges or team challenges. And also being seen as a positive influence in the organization. You're not somebody who goes and kind of moans at the water cooler, that you're actually setting the tone in your team, in your department, around that kind of, let's look at this differently. Let's be positive about what we can do, what we can't do. Let's navigate some of those organizational challenges. And obviously, while you're doing this, you can be actually recognizing, well, can I be that positive influence? Is the culture of the organization one that actually, at the moment, morale is really low, everyone's feeling negative, it's quite a lot of energy and hard work to be that positive influence, because that might be giving you information about actually maybe I need to be moving up, but also moving out. So while you're doing all this kind of preparation, it'll help you make a decision about whether it's time to stay, right to stay or time to go. And also you could be proactive at thinking about getting a mentor if you don't have one, or thinking about your personal board. And I've done a live on personal boards before in your career, and that's about having different people in your career who can help you in different ways. So obviously having a mentor is one way, but it could be about having a sponsor or a connector or a cheerleader or a door opener. So thinking about what you need and, engaging with that person to help you in your career, which kind of brings me onto my next point, which is all about building relationships. I mean, hopefully you've got good relationships already, but it might be just being more strategic in those relationships. So obviously the first one and the most important one, if you're thinking about promotion, is with your line manager. So thinking about having a career conversation with them. So not tagging it onto the end of a one-to-one, but actually having a separate conversation where you are talking about your aspirations, talking about what you want, getting their input, getting their feedback, getting their buy-in, because they are going to have to be your champion. If we're talking about, promotion, they're going to be the one who's going to be talking about you and championing you to, sorry, my dog's just gone crazy, to promote you to the decision makers. But it's also important to have a good relationship with your manager's manager. So if, say, your boss is a director who puts into the C-suite, or is a C-suite member and puts into the CEO, you want to be making sure your manager's manager knows you, and you're having conversations with them, you're talking about the business with them, you're engaging with them, because obviously they are going to be part of the decision-making process when it comes to promotion. And then also just being aware who else is a decision maker in this organization around this area, around promotions. And that might be HR. So it might be also, building a relationship with them. And just making sure you've got those good relationships. And if you haven't got those good relationships, thinking about how you're going to navigate that, who else you can get on side. And then the next thing, which a lot of people really struggle with, is getting comfortable with self-promotion. And particularly women, we tend to feel like we don't want to be seen as arrogant, we don't want to blow our own trumpet, but actually it's really necessary throughout your career, not just when you're thinking about going for promotion, but just to practice getting really comfortable about talking about your achievements and your team's achievements, because that's an important part of being a leader as well. But not just talking about what you've achieved, but also talking about the challenges and the complexity of what you've achieved. Because sometimes we just go, well, yes, we've done that, and that's ticked off. We're on to the next thing now. But what I want you to just imagine is if your boss, has two direct reports who could be up for promotion. Let's just set the scene like that. And you are the direct report who just goes, yeah, we did that. We're on to the next thing in our strategic plan now. This is what we're working on, blah, blah, blah. And then the other person who's their direct report, who's, potential candidate for promotion too, talks about what they've achieved, but also talks about, well, we had this particular challenge, and what we did with that is we did this and this and this. And actually it was quite complex because the client wanted X or Y. And so what I had to do was go and renegotiate this and deal with that. So the line manager hearing both of those things might go, well, the first direct report has it easy. They just get on and they've done it and they haven't really had to deal with any difficulties. Whereas direct report number 2 actually is super skilled because they've had to navigate all these challenges and, put these things in place. And actually perhaps they're the better candidate for this next level role. So it is thinking about not just what you've done, but how you've done it. And obviously, if you're going to go external to get to that next level, that's going to be key in terms of your interview prep as well. So it's all good stuff to be thinking about doing on a regular basis. The self-promotion piece can feel hard, but it is super important. And you can position it as, I'm giving other people inspiration that I've managed to achieve things. I'm giving them information about how I've done things. So it's actually not me blowing my trumpet and being arrogant. It's actually helping other people in the business too. So then the next thing would be just to think about doing some research in your industry. So knowing what's going on in your industry, not in terms of your specialism, because obviously that's important, but in terms of the market. So who's recruiting, who's promoting, your peers in other organizations so they can keep and retain their talent. What's the kind of pay rates that are going for those next level jobs, so that you are really informed about why your organizations should promote you to retain you. And when you're having those paid discussions, what actually the market rate should be, and because you're bringing so much more value, actually why they should be paying you above the market rate. So just keeping up to date with that will be really helpful at you feeling you know your worth and also what you want to negotiate on. And then the last thing just to kind of factor in would be to think about your timing. So, I mean, obviously, sometimes you can't have an impact on the timing, because if your director or your, CMOs, CCOs, whatever has left and you're going to go for their job, it's going to be a recruitment process. But, there are opportunities to get promoted within your band, or, that kind of thing. So it's thinking about the timing. So if you've just delivered a great piece of work for them, that may be, about bringing in a new client, delivering something on time, that meant that, the business retained that client, or, you've implemented something that's going to have a lot of efficiencies and save the business money, or you've just done a really great job on something, or you've contributed to the team winning an award, whatever it might be, that is a good time to be then really pushing that agenda around promotion. And also thinking about where the company is. So if the company is buoyant, that's a great time to be pushing for it. But if the message coming out of the company is things are a bit difficult at the moment, business is down, we need to be, making more efficiencies, then that's obviously not a good time to be pushing your agenda around promotion. So just thinking about your timing. So I know I've kind of run through a lot of things there for you to think about, but it is about putting this kind of foundational work in place so that you are in a good position to get what you want, whether that's internally or externally. All of these things can be useful for an external move as well. So just to kind of run through it, recognizing when you're ready for that next level, and then preparing. So doing that gap analysis, doing some scanning for opportunities, increasing your self-awareness so you really know your strengths, you know your value, being proactive about how you want to be seen in the organization and who you want to get on your side, building those relationships, getting comfortable with self-promotion. That is the key piece, I would say. Doing your research so you know what's happening in the market, and thinking about your timing. So I hope that's given you some food for thought. Obviously, this is something I work on with my clients around kind of this advancement strategy. So if that's something that you want some help with because you want to make this happen this year, early this year, then, do get in touch with me. I'm really happy to have a chat with you about that. And I'll be back next week, Wednesday at 12:15 for my next live. Have a really great week. Thank you for joining me.